What is up? It's Brandon from Tattooing 101, and today I'm going to be talking to you about, are tattoo kits worth it? So what I mean by tattoo kits, that's when you buy a full kit that comes with everything like fake skins, gloves, inks, needles, everything you need to actually tattoo. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about why they are worth it or why they're not worth it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you like and subscribe down below so you can keep up to date on the content that we make for you guys each week. So let's get into, are tattoo kits worth it? So this could be a little tricky just because there's so many different kits out there and it's hard to kind of say one thing or another when it comes to if they're worth it or not. Obviously, I don't have the time to go over the 1,000 different kits there are out there, but as a whole, I have seen a couple of things that I'm about to go over for you guys. Okay, so 99 and even maybe 100% of the time, if you are buying a tattoo kit, the inks are not going to be good at all. You could possibly use them for tattooing on face skins, but they're not going to be sterilized and they're not going to be clean, and it could cause a lot of complications if you're actually tattooing with these inks on clients. There's been tests made that some of these inks actually had arsenic in them when they got tested, which is obviously not good to have in the body and not good to tattoo with. So I highly recommend, if you do go with the kit method, just throw away the inks because they're not even worth wasting your time. So that's one thing that's in most of the kits out there that you're going to get that you're going to want to throw away right away. So that's one thing out of the kit that you're buying that is no good, just starting off the bat. Another big one that you're going to get in these kits are either needle bars or cartridges. So with your cartridges, there could be a ton of different brands that they send with you, but they're always going to be cheap brands because they're trying to make it as cheap as possible so people will buy them. It's going to be off brands to where they're not going to work correctly. You're going to have a lot of issues trying to figure out what's going on with your tattooing, and you're going to think it's something you're doing wrong when in all actuality it's probably the things that you're using from the kit. Another thing, I wouldn't recommend using these kits for anything that you are tattooing unless it is on fake skin, because you don't know if these things are properly sterilized, where they're coming from. Most of the stuff's coming from China, and they have different regulations for sterilization and things like that, especially if it's getting shipped over, if you're buying it on Amazon or other places to where there's a lot of fakes to begin with. Okay, then you're going to get some fillers that are like ink caps, maybe some gloves, just little things that you're going to need with tattooing that barely cost anything to begin with. So anytime you're getting those things, they're just throwing them in there so they could say that it's 50 pieces or 30 pieces, when in all actuality, you're just getting really simple, basic things that are super cheap just to buy by yourself. So if you're going after a tattoo kit just for the amount of things you're getting in them, it's probably not going to be worth your time. You might as well separate it out, buy what you need, and that way you don't have to go through using products that aren't going to work and help you grow. Okay, now that we went over the inks, the needles, all the random stuff they put in there as well, let's talk about the main thing that you're going to be using, and that would be a tattoo machine. So there's plenty of different kits out there, be it with a pen style machine or a regular rotary style machine or even traditional tattoo machines. Here are the couple of things that I have seen and I want to let you guys know before you do go the kit method. Depending on the style of machine you're going to get, let's talk about traditional styles first. More than likely you're going to get a liner and a shader. Most of the time they're going to come with actual metal grips. That means you're going to need an autoclave to be able to clean and sterilize them to use them for actually tattooing on humans. So if you are using these, I only would use them on fake skins. Sometimes you'll get fake skins in these kits as well. We'll go over that in a minute. So anytime you are getting these traditional style machines, you're going to notice that they are very low quality. If it's your first time getting in a traditional machine, you'll see that some of the pieces are going to be made with plastic, which could cause a lot of issues being able to tune them and have them run correctly. With traditional style machines, it's an ongoing process. Anytime you are going to do a tattoo, you want to make sure that it's tuned correctly and fine tune it depending on the tattoo that you are doing. So obviously, if you have a machine that you can't do that, it's not going to be worth it. So going with these cheap machines, yes, you do get two of them, a liner and a shader, when in all actuality, they're just about the same thing. They just call it different names. So it's not set up for those things by any means. So traditional machines, by far, they're really important to know exactly what you're doing to get them set up. I wouldn't recommend someone new just buying them and trying them out. So now we'll go on to what I do recommend. It would be a rotary style machine. There's a ton of knockoffs out there. There's even some knockoffs for inkjectors, things like that, that you're going to get knockoffs in these kits. Or some name brands that go a little bit cheaper like Dragon Hawk or mast, things like that that you could get in these kits as well. Just like the traditional style tattoo machines, they're probably going to come with the metal grips. Just like I said before, you need an autoclave if you're going to use them on humans, so I wouldn't necessarily worry about them. I'd buy disposables, go that route. It's way easier. You don't have to worry about doing spore tests for an autoclave, things like that. That's what I use in my studio, fully disposable, so I don't have to worry about cleaning my tubes. I did that in my apprenticeship, didn't like it too much, so whenever they did come out with disposable tubes, I jumped on it really quick. So these machines can work really good. You can get disposable grips, all of those things, and then they use cartridges as well. You know, some cartridges that I highly recommend. I've used CNC's, police cartridges, they worked really well. A couple other brands that are a little bit cheaper, so it's not really hard on your wallet, but they also work really well with fake skins. If you're practicing on fake skins, I wouldn't recommend going and buying the super expensive ones just because you're using them to practice, you're not using on humans. But if you do have the ability, it is beneficial to use something that you're going to be used whenever you do jump onto tattooing on humans. Those would be like T-Tech, Quadrants, Prime Plus. I really like all of those brands. I use daily on actual tattooing clients. So that's what I would go with. The last machine we'll talk about is pen style machines. And I'll start out this by saying I wouldn't recommend going with a pen style machine out of a tattoo kit. The reason being is the grips are always metal. Unless there's ability to buy the disposable grips that screw on the end, they're not going to be sterile and clean to tattoo on humans. If you are just tattooing on fake skins and you're going to buy a better machine when you transition, by all means, you could go this route. They're really easy to pick up and learn, but very few out there are going to have the ability to buy disposable grips. I've tried out plenty of different brands, plenty of different style machines, even the top brands out there like the Access Valhalla. The disposable grips that came in the mail were not sterilized, which is a big deal for me. So I'm not using that machine on humans. I ended up practicing on fake skins with it, and that's what it's going to stay being, is just a practice skin machine, because I like the ability to buy disposables. I don't want to have to work with an autoclave, things like that, so I will use my Cheyenne Soul Nova Unlimited. Even though I can't change the stroke on my Cheyenne, and you can with the Valhalla, safety is always #1 priority when it comes to tattooing, so that's definitely the biggest point to think about, especially with these kits. So I know that was a ton of information to go over in a very little amount of time. The last point I want to touch on would be the fake skins that you get in these kits. Every kit that I've seen, it comes with a really, really thin fake skin that's about 1 millimeter thick, so it doesn't help you practice needle depth at all. They're pretty much worthless when it comes to trying to practice tattooing, which is obviously why you're buying these kits in the first place. So at the end of the day, would I recommend a tattoo kit? Even the best ones on the market, you could get for a really nice price. And, you know, I would recommend some of those, like the Mast has a really nice one, but you're always going to have an issue to where there's some things in those kits that aren't worth it. My best advice would be make a list of the things you absolutely need and then find something in your budget to go with that. You could find plenty of pen style machines or rotary style machines in a nice budget that will work really well to help you learn, instead of just getting something with a ton of extras that you won't really need or can afford yourself. And then that way you don't have to worry about throwing things away or things not working and then needing to buy the things anyway, which is going to waste a ton of money to begin with. So this is my views on tattoo kits. I hope this was able to help you out, and I hope to see you on the next video.